Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbalo in Abuja. Well, Port Harcourt, the capital of Rivers State, has become some kind of a political destination for some political heavyweights recently, and it has emerged as a place where a lot of controversial political events have been staged. So what we've seen is the visitation of two APC governors who have met with Governor Nyesom Wike of the PDP in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital. This comes amid political permutations ahead of the 2023 general elections. The two APC governors, Governor Dave Umahi of the Bonny State and his Cross River State counterpart, Ben Ayade, were accompanied by Governor Okezie Ikpeazu of Abia State, who is of the PDP. Governor Wike and Ikpeazu, alongside three others of the PDP, have for weeks now demanded the removal of the PDP national chairman, Yeocha Ayu, as a precondition to support the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar. But they recently said they will not be part of the presidential campaign. Governors Umahi and Ayade have dumped the PDP for the APC and later on contested for the APC presidential ticket in the primaries. A lot of issues that have come up on the 2023 elections. The stories of the planned removal of the INEC chairman, the stories on the theft of the PVCs. Yesterday we heard the INEC chairman when he was speaking about some INEC officials who are involved in multiple registration. Some of them, he says, they will be dealt with. But in the midst of all of this, what are the thoughts? What is the mindset of the opposition political parties in Nigeria? How are they perceiving this? Because some of these political parties that will be running in this election in some way are fresh to the race. Some of these issues might be strange to them, but how are they taking it? What are their actions? One major thing that have come out of all of these is also the figures relating to the number of young people in the election that will be going into this election. What significance will that have on the coming election? These are some of the issues we'll be dissected tonight. But let me tell you that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, continued today with its consultations with political party leaders and is insisting that it will deliver on free and fair election next year. From that meeting today, which held at the INEC headquarters, let me allow you to listen to the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu.
Introduce yourself, please.
The commission has so far identified 23 registration officers involved in this unethical conduct, and disciplinary action against them has commenced. We shall continue to protect the integrity of the voters' register. It is pivotal to credible elections. Without a credible register of voters, you can't have credible elections. In some cases, some of them made as many as 40 attempts or more to register one fake voter, yet were able, through the ABs, to detect those fictitious registrations. As a result, the Commission has so far identified 23 registration officers involved in this unethical conduct, and disciplinary action against them has commenced. We shall continue to protect the integrity of the voters' register. It is pivotal to credible elections. Without a credible register of voters, you can't have credible elections.
As we get our attention tonight, don't worry, because we're going to dig into all of those issues that have been raised, because now a lot of people have told me, look, we have our eyes on this election. This election is critical. It's very important for Nigeria to move forward. Well, how that plays out is in the hands of those who are going to vote and how the vote is going to culminate later on. But first and foremost, before I introduce my first guest to you on the program tonight, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
In what appears to be an olive branch, the coalition of Jengbak youth, which comprises of Boko, Buruku and Takar, are demanding an apology from the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar if he wants their votes. The leader of the group, Mr. Tengu Ikenon, says while they want the PDP to win at the polls, they would not tolerate Mr. Atiku's statement allegedly profiling Governor Samuel Ortom, hence the need for him to publicly apologize if he values their vote come 2023.
You are mourning, you are in sorrow, you are with tears because of your people. For him to send that kind of message, I think he has not done well for the good people of Benue State.
Receiving the groups who led the Solidarity March to the Government House, Governor Ortom says he wonders why a presidential candidate would be quick to defend a section of the society against others who are victims of violent crimes.
You are seeking to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the president of Fulanis. And you cannot seek to please them alone.
The Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, has admonished residents of the state against violence and insecurity in the build-up to the 2023 general elections. He made the call in Ilaru, Yewa South local government area of the state, during the citizens' engagement on the 2023 budget preparation. Governor Abiodun advocates peaceful conduct by citizens ahead of the polls.
Be resourceful. Please direct your energies to ventures that are profitable. Do not allow yourselves to be used by some of these politicians.
River State Governor Nyesom Wike has sworn in 18 new commissioners into the State Executive Council. One of the newly sworn-in commissioners is the immediate past publicity secretary of the All Progressives Congress in the state, Mr. Chris Finebone, who recently joined the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as some former commissioners in the Executive Council that was dissolved in May this year. Governor Wike charged the new cabinet members to be diligent and committed to the service of the people in the state. Ahead of the Labour Party's presidential campaign flag-off on Saturday, the leadership of the party has expanded the list of its presidential campaign council from the initial 1,234 to 1,453. The national chairman of the Labour Party, Mr. Julius Abure, made the announcement at the news conference in Abuja, where he also appealed to those who couldn't make the list to continue to work for the interest of the party. The Labour Party has scheduled to start its presidential campaigns on Saturday in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. The Labour Party is scheduled to start its presidential campaigns on Saturday in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital.
We have been working on the list, and I am highly elated today to announce to you that we have reviewed the list, and that is the list we are presenting today.
The Northeast Zonal Vice Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Mustafa Salihu, says the party is working hard to win states not currently ruled by the APC in the northeastern zone of the country, with wide margin if party members sustain the unity among them. He was speaking in Jalingo, Taraba state capital, on a reconciliatory visit to members of the APC in the state. Mr. Salihu appeals to members to sheathe their swords and work for the victory of the party in the state.
This meeting today has ratified the findings we had, which we are already working on. Now we have a better insight as to our roadmap on how to solve the problems in Taraba.
The presidential campaign coordinator of Tinubu Shetima and the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in Plateau State, Mr. Nentawe Yewada, says the APC has the best candidate for the presidency, and marketing him will not be a problem based on his track record as governor of Lagos State. Mr. Yewada stated this in Jos at a PVC Power rally.
If you don't love human beings, you don't have a tribe. The biggest tribe we have on the plateau is the love of humanity.
The immediate past president of the National Association of Nigerian Students and coordinator of the Tinubu Shetima Students Vanguard, Mr. Sunday Asefon, has asked Nigerian students to protect and secure their future by voting for the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Asefon was speaking in Abuja at the unveiling of the Tinubu Shetima Students Vanguard. He says the interest of Nigerian students will be better protected under an APC presidency.
Tell them the reason why Asiwaju, Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Senator Kashim Shettima are the most preferable materials for the.
All right, then, there you have it. You've been served with your political roundup stories. Let's also tell you that the police authorities in Sokoto State have arrested a man in possession of over 100 permanent voter cards. The Commissioner of Police in Sokoto State, Mohammed Osaino Gome, disclosed this today while briefing journalists at the command headquarters in Sokoto. Although the police authorities are yet to trace the actual owners of the PVCs, Gume said it is believed that the owners of the PVCs are not residents of Sabon Brenin alone, where the suspect was arrested. Now, if you remember what we reported yesterday, the INEC chairman did say there were those bad eggs in INEC who were engaged in multiple registration. I'd like you to listen and we get started with our first conversation on the program of those bad eggs and what could happen to them. Or apologies for that. We'll get it to you in a moment in the course of the program, because I'd like you to make a sense of what is happening, how much of vigilance should be kept on the process. I'm being joined tonight by a chieftain of the Labour Party, an actor and a lawyer, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you very much, and thank you viewers at home for joining us.
Let's begin the conversation on the development. You saw the report on the arrest of one person that has well over 100 PVCs in Sokoto, and the investigations are going on where he got it and the details around what he made with it, and of course the conversations that came up yesterday on what INEC discovered about some bad eggs in the commission who were engaged in multiple registration. Let me get your view on that development.
Oh, well, it's a very sad development, but it's something that is expected from a government that has been known to have thieves in all the sectors of the economy, whether it's oil, whether in economy. You should expect that they should plant also their own thieves inside the INEC, because INEC is going to move down by the Electoral Act 2022. It might be very difficult for anybody to perpetrate anything without an insider. And you recall that after the Osun State election, there was only one person that said that the Electoral Act 2022 was going to destroy our democracy. And the person is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He made it clear. And of course, with profound respect, sir, Electoral Act 2022 will not destroy our democracy. It will destroy the insatiable appetite of politicians, probably like you, to manipulate our election. You know, after the Osun State election, Adeleke said that the difference between Electoral Act 2010 and Electoral Act 2022 is in his losing or winning election. You know that in 2010 Electoral Act, the overvoting is calculated not based on accredited voters, but based on a manual register. And can you imagine the absurdity of it? That you could bring a result that is actually more than the people that presented themselves to vote, and you have nothing in law to defend yourself. But in 2022, you saw that those things were taken care of. So the Beavers has provided a shield whereby, based on the accredited voters, that is what overvoting is based on. So the politicians now know that it is difficult to maneuver these things, and they are now planting their own people inside INEC so that they can operate from.
Are you worried about that scenario?
Very worried.
But because INEC says that they are going to deal decisively with these people who have been caught in this act.
You know, INEC, with profound respect, can only express their wish, but their wish cannot be their command. When they are not in charge of the instruments of coercion, in other words, the instrument of enforcement of laws, they are not in charge of the judiciary. So they can only express their wish, but it's only eternal vigilance of Nigerians that will stop all these shenanigans of failed politicians who know that they have failed come 2023, but who are trying by all means to manipulate the process. 2023 is not going to be an election like any other. And that is why every Nigerian should be eternally vigilant. The INEC can only express. What bites do they have? They don't have any power over the police. They don't have any power over the judiciary. So I sympathize.
But do you trust that INEC would deliver on the promise of a free and fair election?
Professor Mahmood is the only INEC chairman that has the fortunacy to be appointed for the second time from my adult age, meaning that there is reasonable confidence in him that he has an intention to deliver. But the intention can only materialize if he is given the adequate support from the state. So if you say intention, fine. If you say wish, fine. If wishes were horses, beggars will ride. So Nigerians should not rely on the promises, wishes, or aspirations of INEC. They must move ahead to supervise vigilantly whatever is going to happen to make sure that the 2023 election is delivered.
You seem to be very quick in pointing an accusing finger at the ruling party APC about some of what have been discovered. Are you saying that there are no bad eggs within your party? They are thinking of maneuvering the process? Because there are politicians. Politicians are not only in the APC or PDP. Your party, you are a politician.
Yes.
Are you saying that there are no, it's in only your party that you have saints?
All right. The monkey said he's carrying his child at the back and cannot vouch whether he will pick apple from his back. What I'm saying is, don't give any politician benefit of doubt, whether the person's name is Kenneth Okonkwo or another person. You're not going to vote for a pope. You're going to vote for a president. What I'm saying is INEC should not give any politician any benefit of doubt. Go in there, do what you're supposed to do, and whenever any politician wants to do anything that is untoward, take him out.
How do you do this without the law? I mean, there are those who have agitated for the Electoral Offences Commission, in that sense, a law that permits a body that will be able to prosecute electoral offenders adequately.
You know, the problem we have in Nigeria is when a committee is not performing well. The first thing that comes to mind is to set another committee to check what that committee is not doing. We had ICPC, and we said they're not performing well. We formed EFCC. I want to let you know, if you like, set 100 commissions. If the attitudinal change and revolution does not come in, if the issue of integrity does not come in, the same virus that is in one will quickly go into another. And that is not saying that we do not need an electoral offences commission or tribunal, but it is saying that it is not going to succeed if the same attitude to what we are doing now will enter into it. There is no law that we do not have that can take care of our problems in Nigeria. But the issue is the issue of integrity, character, and attitude. So whatever we are going to do, and I say, like I said, with all due respect, we may need it, but we will be duplicating incompetence and incapability if our attitudes do not change.
A lot of people have critically analyzed the electoral law and says, look, it has really provided for us a system that can give us a good election if people abide by it.
Yes.
And I see that a lot of Nigerians are also very vigilant. They're following the process. But I'd like to ask you, a very big question mark over our election in the last few years is the issue of money politics, vote buying. Does your party, the Labour Party, with Peter Obi leading the guard in your party, holding the flag of your party, do you have what it takes to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the so-called bigger political parties money-wise?
Well, first of all, we have this, our slogan, we don't give shishi. And it's a slogan that the Nigerian people gave to us. We did not even say it. It was the obedience that came up with that slogan. And what it means is that Nigerians are not going to succumb to the blackmail of vote buyers. They are tired. I've given you an example of my friend from Kebbi State, Comrade Dasama. He said the mother died and they told him he should not come home because of terrorists. His sister, the elder sister, died and they told him he shouldn't come home because terrorists will kill him. And he said after that, he discovered that no more. He has been voting tribe, he has been voting religion, but now he wants to vote for his freedom. That in 2023, he will no longer do that. So the people that have been selling their votes before now, they want to vote for their freedom. So money is not going to play a lot of influence in 2023. The Obedience have made up their mind that they will not give shishi, and they don't accept shishi.
Are your obedience enough to give you the kind of victory you envisage?
Every Nigerian is obedient. Do not ask me. Do not take my words for it. Take the words of Governor Obaseke, who confessed that there are obedience in his own family. Take the words of some spokespersons of the other parties who scream that some of their staff are obedient.
But the same Governor Obaseki said that the steam of the Labour Party will soon fizzle out.
What do you want him to say in front of his presidential candidate when he is doing his campaign? Go and ask him again, and he will tell you that if there is anybody that his team has been extinguished completely, is that of Atiku Abubakar, who, of course, should have been disqualified by now, by going to the north and making a genocidal statement that Northerners should vote for North only. This was what caused genocide in Rwanda, when Hutus were told that they should not support Tutsis because they are cockroaches. Atiku Abubakar went to the north and said Northerners should support only the people from the north, not Yoruba, not Igbo. That is ethnic profiling. That's genocidal statement. Atiku knows he has failed. What he's trying to do now is to make sure he destroys our democracy after he has failed. And he should be called to order. INEC should be implementing Section 97 of the Electoral Act now on Atiku, because that's a criminal offense, trying to profile ethnic and religious groups. So it is Atiku Abubakar that I've always said he is very unfit to be president, and not only that he's unfit, he is now a threat to our democracy. It is him that when he launched his own campaign in Akwa Ibom, all of them were obi-centric. All of them were obedient. What other evidence do you want me to say? They were singing the redemption song Obi Kererenke in the flag off of PDP campaign. Where do you want to go and you won't see obedient? If I sample the people walking in this your studio, you'll just be shocked that even inside the heart of Shehu Kimbaloye, he may just be obedient. In his heart, you're entitled to your thoughts. You may not just tell me.
Well, you never can tell, because
yes, I never can tell, but I said in your thoughts.
The Nigerian blood runs deep in my veins, and for the last few election cycles, I'm just so blank on voting. I've not voted in the last 4 election cycle because I'm always on my job. So I've given up in voting for anybody or trusting any politicians at that. I just allow them do their jobs. But the question is, how penetrative is the obedient movement?
All right.
In the very nook and crannies, because those who are going to make the majority of the vote are not those we see in the metropolis, on the street of Abuja, on the street of Lagos, on the street of Uyo, or on the street of Ilorin, the metropolis. That is not where you perhaps get a larger chunk of the vote. You probably will get it in those nook and crannies of Nigeria. And if anything, by the figures of INEC is to go by, you look at 76.56% of youth population in the new 12 million registered voters. Out of that, you have 40.87%. That's over 3 million that are students. How much of that figure do you think you can lure to be obedient?
First of all, labor, as symbolized by NLC and TUC, have thrown their weight behind the Labour candidate. Labour and the NLC and TUC, they are everywhere, in every ward. Labour is everywhere in Nigeria. The students have made it as a slogan. Even a fraternity, which is founded by a Yoruba man, they are the ones that gave us the song. Emiloko, Emiloko, Baba we know well, they shout Emiloko. By a fraternity that is owned by a man from the same geopolitical zone as Bola Tinubu. So wherever you go to, so we have the labor. Labor means the working class. Labor means the students. Labor means the women. Labor means the professionals. Labor means the intellectuals. Labor means the farmers. Labor means the traders, the businessmen, the businesswomen. We have them behind us. How many of these candidates can boast of that?
Let me ask you this, Kenneth, and it was what Denle Momodu said right on the chair you're sitting. He said, in the history of Nigeria's politics and election,
yes,
whenever you see 2 strong or more than 1 strong southern contestants in the race on the ballot for a presidential election, they always lose to a northern strong candidate.
Yes.
And so it's making inference in the sense that you have a Bola Tinubu from the southwest, a Peter Obi from the southeast. And even in football, in sports, history play a major role. Not to talk of politics, that is science, that is psychological, that it has that historical. I mean, it's always drawn into it. Do you fear that history might play by itself what we've seen in the Second Republic, in the First Republic?
You know, the problem of some analysts is that they do not contextualize issues. They do not appreciate that they need to distinguish certain circumstances that made their prognosis or predictions irrelevant. Now, the mood of the nation is that there is sitting in the seat of power a fulfilled day speaking Northern Fulani Muslim. And the Northerner he's referring to is another fulfilled day speaking Northern Fulani Muslim. It has not happened in Nigeria. That's for 16 years unbroken, that you have people of the same ethnicity, linguistic background, and the same religion, and the same section of the country to come and rule the country for the same time. You know, when PDP say APC, they are doing Muslim ticket, I laugh. I laugh at their, ignorance. Because they are the ones that are doing the worst Muslim ticket. Because they want to proceed from a Muslim ticket, and not just a Muslim ticket, identical ethnic linguistic background, to another Muslim ticket from the same ethnicity, from the same linguistic background, and from the same section of the country. And the mood of the nation does not warrant that. So what he is saying was when, for instance, in 1979, you had UPN, MPP, and you had the North. And the sentiment of power shift and rotation was not there. So I do not know where he got his statistics, but the truth is that he got it all wrong. PDP's ticket has offended section 14, subsection 3, section 15, section 16, section 17, that enumerated the political, economic, and social objectives of Nigeria by picking that ticket, but particularly section 14.3 that said that our diversity should be recognized in the composition and the conduct of affairs of any government. So you must proactively ensure that there is no preponderance and domination of people from one ethnic, one section of the people against the others.
But the agenda of the political parties are different. And those who are also bringing the factor of the fact that you need to have been able to play at the center your politics in such a way that you can be able to garner or bring home the votes across the board. And those who have criticized or described the Peter Obi, your candidate, as more of a sectional politician, how do you respond to such?
Now, let's talk about sectional politics. As I have said, Atiku went to the north and said Northerners should vote only somebody from the north, not Yoruba, not Igbo. What can be more ethnic than that? Tinubu went to Ogun State and said it is the turn of the Yorubas. And when it comes down to the Yoruba, it is my turn. That is the meaning of Emiloko. What can be more sectional than that? Peter Obi went to the Igbo people, and at the risk of losing their vote, he told them, do not vote for me because I'm Igbo. Vote for me because I'm a man of competence, character, and capacity.
Does Peter Obi have the competence to run the affairs of this government?
Nigerians do not, it is not the turn of anybody in 2023, it is the turn of Nigerians. Peter Obi has displayed an uncanny character.
In reality,
capacity.
In reality, can your candidate win the election?
No, he has already won.
How?
Oh, check the analysis like I've always told you. Take it by polls. You know there are 3 polls that have come out. ANAP, We Together, and Bloomberg. And in the first one, he scored 23. In the second one, 53. In the third one, 75. Soon and very soon, before the election reaches, when the 2 candidates will unravel, and I'm sure they're already unraveling, then it will now be Peter Obi and others. Because then collectively in the polling poll, they will not have up to 5%. And whenever you don't reach up to 5%, you'll be classified as others. So actually it is going to be Peter Obi and others. There is no other candidate.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo. And I would have loved to ask you this final question, but we just have 30 seconds to close this segment. And the question will be, if there's one thing that will not make Peter Obi win this election, what would that be?
It will be that Nigerians allow thieves to steal the election because he has already won.
Okay. Thank you so much indeed. Kenneth Okonkwo, lawyer, actor, and the chieftain of the Labour Party. Thank you so much indeed for coming.
Thank you
I appreciate
very much. I appreciate it.
We'll take a break, everyone, and when we come back, we continue with the conversation on the vigilance on the 2023 election. There is a man as passionate as the man we have just spoken with. He's of the NNPP, Alhaji Buba Galadima. He will be speaking with us on what is happening in the land ahead of the 2023 election, the fear of a possible manipulation of the exercise. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Amidst the engagements by INEC with politicians and stakeholders on the discoveries. There's some bad elements within INEC, and the INEC authorities have said, promised that they will deal with these people. But political parties, we're getting their reaction. This time around, we're getting the reactions of major opposition in the race. I'm being joined tonight by a chieftain of the New Nigeria's People's Party, Alhaji Buba Galadima. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight.
Thank you, Sharon.
Let's begin, and let me get your feel about the process generally. Do you have a sense of trust and confidence in the process that INEC is going to deliver a free and fair election?
Well, Sharon, you've been out of this country for some time, therefore...
Not for some time, a few days.
You may not be very conversant with the current
very
political
much, more than what you
happenings.
think, Alhaji Galadima.
You know, for what had happened this morning, there is a lot of room for concern that for INEC, for example, to come out and say, look, the INEC chairman is not being removed. It's a statement by INEC. There are a lot to it which most media and journalists do not know.
Can you tell us?
The INEC chairman is under extensive pressure to tamper with the Electoral Act because the ruling party wanted to table an issue before the National Assembly such that they will give INEC, force the chairman to write to National Assembly that it should not be compelling on INEC to use the BVAS machine. And this is the greatest disservice and an unpatriotic thing that some elements in the ruling party are trying to put forward.
Could this be true? I mean, it appeared like a rumor because INEC had come to say, we're sticking with the BVAS, we will use it. And it's been captured in the INEC guidelines and in fact, in the electoral law, that INEC will use any of the technology device that it deems fit.
Yes, it's correct. In the Electoral Act. They want to amend the Electoral Act. Therefore, I want the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, General Muhammadu Buhari, to take a note of some bad elements that wants to smear his image when he leaves office. You could have listened to Senator Kabiru Gaya, the chairman on INEC, who recently was on national television telling the world that INEC must be given an alternative either to use or not to use the BVAS. Because in his own constituency of Gaya, which is in the middle of Kano State, there is no network to transmit results. He's only preparing grounds for what they have designed as a party because they know this election, they have lost. He, in particular, is eating his last loaf of bread in the Senate.
Why did you say so?
Because he can never win an election against the cow smeller. You have seen the gathering. I wonder that when you are putting clips of other parties, you didn't put the clip of NNPP to show the world that we are the party to beat in this election.
Are you on the ground?
We are deeply rooted. Foundation.
Beyond Kano.
Let's assume it is only Kano. Kano has registered voters of 6-point-something million people. And any candidate that has a base of starting point 6 million votes is the candidate to beat. So why should you leave a candidate with a base and chase the one that is floating in the air, who have no political base?
Which is?
All of them, because you say Kano.
No, I'm asking
which of the candidates has any base?
Tell me, you are the politicians, you are the experienced politicians.
Well, you know better. You are asking me. Konkoso, right, Kano. But you've seen him in Akwa Ibom. When we went to Akwa Ibom, the crowd, with all the rain, the crowd we've put together is 10 times the crowd that was put for PDP Southeast Zonal Rally. And in fact, when you look at the stadium, 2/3 of the stadium is empty. And those that are occupied were occupied by school children in uniform. So, have you seen us in Lagos for the second time?
Does the rally crowd really amount to real support on the ground? And I would like to ask you, because INEC has received the party's membership details and the number of the party membership details. How many members do you have?
Let me tell you.
NNPP.
We are a new party. We are a new party. That is why we made an innovation for the last 2 months to visit states and open our offices. Now we have become a role model that the APC and the PDP are doing the same, but they are 23 years old. It's because they copy from us. Let me tell you something. If we are not the party to beat, why should other political parties budget billions of naira to buy PVCs from all over the country? Because they thought the talakawas who follow Konkoso must be disenfranchised, not by rhetorics or by campaign, but by buying their PVCs off. This is what is happening. And the security agencies are not doing their job. I saw you just now. You said somebody else was arrested in Sokoto in possession of 100 voters' cards. That has been arrested by our own Kwankwasia guards all over Northwest and handed over to the police. They are doing that because they are trying to erode Kwankwaso's base.
But clarify, now that you're here, I know that there is a lot of alignment, realignment, and working together, handshake that will happen before the election itself.
Do you want to also hold the view? Do you also want to hold the view?
Let me finish the question.
Has been libeled that Konkoso is working for somebody?
No. Let me ask.
Does he look like somebody working for somebody?
Are you omnipotent and omniscient?
The gatherings and the people you have just shown here indicate that Konkoso can step down for any
May I ask the question?
On what basis? What do we do?
Do you read minds?
What do we do?
Just hold on.
What do we do with our candidates?
Alaji Galadima.
We were.
Just hold on. If I may ask the question, just hold on.
Expelled from
Alaji Galadima.
We were expelled.
Would you allow me to ask the question? Just hold on, Alaji Galadima. Let me ask the question. You're preempting me. Now, the question is there a possibility of a merger, of an alignment with PDP or APC?
Which section of the Electoral Act or Constitution allows that at this particular time?
So there are no plans by your party?
You tell me, unless the law permits. I don't think the law has any provision for that now.
But we have seen it in the past. Where political, just a moment, where political parties, one political party aligns with another political party, just a moment, and hold on, Alaji, and it tells its followers and supporters to vote for another political party because they are now working together.
How can the majority work for the minority?
We are the minority.
All the other parties are minorities as far as NNPP is concerned. You have just shown on the screen the kind of followership that the man has, and we don't give 1 penny to invite anybody. Do you know the other time we were in Kano last weekend? Listen.
Hold on. Although you said that we don't play your video, so that's your video.
So somebody with this kind of support, I think those who say this are not unpatriotic, but even out of their minds. Kwankwaso is the man to beat in this election. And all the candidates put together, all of them, I'm telling you, let them produce one candidate and let there be free, fair, and transparent election. As far as Nigerians will vote, Kwankwaso would be the president.
Let me ask you, so you are not a neophyte, you are not a newbie in the politics in Nigeria, except if mischief is going to be drawn into this. And I like you to, because you are that kind of person, you and I, we've had our time on television, either good or bad. So
good always.
So, I mean, I know that with your age, lies will not come out of our conversation. You will always speak truth. How would Kwankwaso win this election? Give us your own permutations. What are the figures saying? Where do you think Kwankwaso will win?
Correct, fine. First, PDP is not even on the ballot.
How?
Because the strength of the PDP is in the southeast, which has been eroded by Peter Obi. The strength of the PDP, next, is in the south-south. With Wike never to support Atiku, south-south is gone. Is gone. And with Udom not picked as the vice presidential candidate, I don't think he can use his money to counter Wike's influence in the southeast. And Wike is not only strong in the southeast. Wike commands 14 states of Nigeria for PDP. All of them follow him. 5 serving governors, 9 gubernatorial candidates outside PDP-controlled states, all belong to Wike. It is what Wike decides that will happen in the PDP. So, and the Northeast is completely Kwankwaso is born. Yes, because Kwankwaso will win Taraba, he will win Adamawa, he will win Gombe.
Has he done it
He
before?
will win Bauchi.
Has he done it
including governorship. Just look, I don't talk frivolities. You know that. You are my witness. Everything I have said here had come to pass. And Nigerians will bear me with. Hold on.
Except that you told me before 2019 that Atiku Abubakar was going to win the election.
He won. He was denied. You know he won.
What?
You can't swear by the Bible. I know you believe in God.
Why do I swear? Why do I need to swear? Because the reality is that if Atiku Abubakar won the election, he's not the president.
No, not in Nigeria.
And the court has said no, that he's not the president.
Now, let me make another point. That here with you, I argued that Buhari must sign that electoral act in 2019. And he came out to say he was not going to sign because it is less than 6 months to election. Now they want to change the law because they are losing when it is only 4 months to the elections. So there is nothing I say. In fact, let me tell you that if you see any reorganization of any of the security systems in this country, be assured that there is something up the sleeves of those who would advise the president to do that. And they have already made that arrangement. They want to go and convince the president to do that in order to help them win election. I call on Nigerians that they must take their destiny into their hands and that they must resist, including the international community, must resist all maneuvers to tamper with the Electoral Act. which has already been agreed for. It is already less than 4 months to an election. The Electoral Act must stay, and the elections must be conducted with this Electoral Act. And for Kwankwaso, listen to me, he will win the Northeast, he will win the North Central, he will win the Northwest. Both combined, they have over 50-something million voters. So, and Kwankwaso will poach the South-South, Kwankwaso will poach part of the Southeast, Kwankwaso will poach part of the Southwest. I assure you that all Nigerians who desire freedom, who desire development, who desire progress, who desire their children to go to school, who desire health services, have no other person to vote for except Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, FNCE, PhD.
Alhaji Abubakar Galadima, I'd like to ask you, because I know politics is science, except if you are speaking as a spiritualist, maybe you are conjuring some political powers from somewhere I don't know, or maybe it's a permutation and you're speaking in prophecy, or you are trying to, by faith, speak some figures to life. You've not spoken to how your candidate Kwankwaso is going to get all of these votes that you've talked about. Why should Nigerians vote Kwankwaso? What does Kwankwaso bring to the table? Why is Kwankwaso better than the other candidates on the ballot?
Thank you very much, Sheon. I would rather clap for you for asking this question. First, is there any candidate in this election that is half educated as Kwankwaso? Half, not full. PhD in engineering. Which of them? Is there any candidate that has touched the lives of ordinary Nigerian as Kwankwaso did? Is there any candidate that practically, verifiably, touchable, that had a performance while in public office as Kwankwaso has done? Is there any candidate whose word is his bond among all as Kwankwaso? Is there any candidate of all of them that is as healthy, as intelligent, and had a wide experience, legislative, diplomatic, and executive as Kwankwaso? Is there any? That puts him miles and miles ahead of all of them.
But why are the polls not in his favor? Have you seen the polls?
It's okay. Let's assume the polls are correct. So I sit down here, I conducted my poll, and I'm saying that Kwankwaso is the winner. Does that make it a reality?
But that's not how polls work.
Oh, how do they work?
They go to the field, scientific
if I just sit down,
research.
By who?
By those who are professional in carrying out the polls.
Please, forget about them. Contrived polls. There was somebody, one of the leading presidential candidates, hired a consultant from France to give him an honest position as to who is likely to win this election. And the polls or the consultant told them that the man that will win this election, unless something else happened, is Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. And that if there is an inconclusive election, that it is only between Kwankwaso and one other person. I wouldn't mention the other one.
Who the person?
No. You go do your research. Shebi, you said you do polls.
No, I don't do polls. I'm saying...
Ask those who do the polls tell you the truth. They know the truth. That is why every candidate... Look, one of the candidates gathered all the clergy in northern Nigeria and asked them to persuade Kwankwaso to step down for him.
Who is
one of the candidates?
Who is the candidate?
Gathered all the traditional rulers in northern Nigeria to ask them to ask Kwankwaso to step down for him. One of the candidates went to all prominent people from northern Nigeria and asked them to persuade Kwankwaso to step down for him. One of the candidates gathered recently in Kaduna a conglomeration of faceless groups to say that every candidate should now come and put forward his manifesto as to what he will do to the North. as if Northerners don't know who is their friend. Is it what you will do as a politician that will stand you out, or what you had done that will bear you witness to what you can do in future?
Why did your candidate not attend?
Why is it, why, now listen now, why is it that every candidate try to throw a spanner, saying, oh, Kwankwaso is working for this, oh, Kwankwaso will step down for this? Why don't they go and look for votes?
Why was Kwankwaso absent at the Arawa meeting in Kaduna?
Because in Islam, any mu'min, a believer, cannot be beaten twice by a snake. Kwankwaso was beaten. Some of those people that gathered in Kaduna were the ones that went to Port Harcourt in 2019 to say that the North has decided that so is the candidate of the North. And that worked against Kwankwaso, and he lost the primaries in Port Harcourt. We know them. We know their character. Some of them are our friends. We know each other. We know their views. Why should Kwankwaso go and take himself to the slaughterhouse to be slaughtered when he knows their position and who their master is? Because we also know that it was that candidate that paid for everything concerning that arrangement. When he was to appear and they set a date and he traveled out of the country, they postponed the event. When his campaign program showed that he's going to be in Kaduna for 3 days, they now said the candidates should come and present their manifesto. First day, second day, he had a rally in Kaduna. They stopped the event until the other day. That goes to suggest
we're out of time,
Alaji
Galadima, because in politics there is no impossibility. Anything can happen. I mean, a day before the election, anything can happen.
Yes.
If there is any possibility of working together with any of the candidates, who do you think your candidate can work with?
For now, we believe we can win the election first ballot. If that doesn't happen, then we can ask any of them, because Kwankwaso is going to be at least have the majority votes on that day for that election. We will ask one of them to support us.
Because I'll still bring you back on this program. Should Kwankwaso lose this election, what would you do?
Kwankwaso? I can't imagine him losing. If he loses, it means that the election was compromised.
Because this is not the first time your permutations are wrong.
No, it has never been wrong. You are my witness.
No,
you are my witness.
You told me Atiku Abubakar was going to win.
If I'm taken to Supreme Court, I will invite you to give evidence.
You have told me Atiku Abubakar will win the election, the first ballot. The same way you were confident.
I say he won the election.
Well, the court didn't say so.
I don't want us to go into that.
All right. Thank you so much, Alaji Galadima. It's always a pleasure having you around.
Thank you
so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Shiwa Kimbale. God bless Nigeria. Bye-bye.